Shalom. Call all y'all about Shin Shah. Just listen, I want to get in on the topic of Hanukkah because lately, I mess with women, a bunch of different women, I should say. And that's just me. That's just my spirit. But anyway, they be asking me to buy stuff for Christmas and different junk like that. And I'm like, I don't celebrate no fucking Christmas. I celebrate Hanukkah. Random people that ask me too, and then they'll be like, "Oh, why you even celebrate that?" They not knowing that's odd. That's even though right here I'm reading on the information they got down here. So why is Hanukkah called a feast of dedication? You read to the right over here. It says Hanukkah is a Jewish festival, which the Levites that actually went up in the temple, also known as you read the book of Maccabees, which I'm about to read in a minute. If you read about Judas and Maccabees, they was all from the tribe of Levi, which Benjamin, Judah, and Levi will be considered Jews. They're not Jewish. They are Jews. They not like a Jew. That word ish just means like. But it says Hanukkah is a Jewish festival commemorating the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem at the time of the Maccabean revolt against the Seleucid Empire. It is also known as the Feast of Lights, or or Hanukkah, or the Feast of Dedication. And when you go into this, it's a few points I want to make before I go all the way into this video. Now, a lot of these pictures, I was looking at this video online, just researching random stuff, and I typed in the sons of Zadok, because it was talking about how the Nazarites were here, and the Levites, they took the Nazarite vow too, just like John the Baptist, Ezekiel, Aaron, and so on and so on. But right here in this video, it says Yeshua, which that's not his name. His name is Yahweh. When people spoke ancient Hebrew, it wasn't no E's in it. The letter E didn't come around about, and the letter J to like mid 1600s and later. So right here in this video, it just basically goes in and talk about this guy. He was saying that the Jews and Maccabees, they was wrong for doing what they did, when really they was right for doing what they did. Yahweh Shem Yahushua wanted them to do that because what was going on at that time, and I'm going to get into that. But before I get into that, I want to read some more also. Let me see. Okay, that's basically saying the same thing. I'm thinking it was something else right here. Salaki. Well, just say the 8-day Jewish celebration. And see, this is how some of our people are. They rather celebrate and have one day off and celebrate for one day instead of celebrating for 8 days, man. You eat good, drinking some yan or whatever strong drink you like. Exchange gifts all through these 8 days, not just on no one day. But our people don't even know Christmas goes back to Saturnalia, which is a pagan holiday which goes into worshiping idols and all type of other stuff like putting up that Christmas tree. That was why stuff like that was the reason for this revolt, Maccabean revolt. Let me go into the book of Exodus just to clear this up, because this image right here, let me show you. When they talk about the Levites and how Moses looked. Now, in this one image right here, you gotta say the legacy of Zadok. There's one image right here, they got some Edomite on there. Now, you read the book of Exodus, it basically break down, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, they break down how Moses looked. Now, it says in Exodus chapter 4, verse 6, it say, furthermore, the Lord Yahweh said to him, now put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous like snow. Now, let me go into this. Now, for somebody hand a little leprous like snow, what color they was before that? And color do matter, because that's how they be playing them little mind games and making all these damn movies, having people bugged out, worshiping. Who they ain't even supposed to be worshiping, man? Have people worshiping the white man. Now, let me go into leprosy. I might be spelling it wrong. This shit pop up. You see, they wilding right here. They got some, Esau got to throw his little nonsense in the mix. I just clicked on and say, what does leprosy mean in the Bible? And it just goes into some nonsense. It says, to be declared unclean because of leprosy meant that the unfortunate person had to tear his clothes and put a covering on his upper lip and cry, unclean, unclean. But that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about being leprous. It's basically losing your pigmentation of your skin tone. Well, that's what I'm actually looking for, the definition of that. Let me see. It says, an infectious disease of the skin, nervous system, and mucous membrane that is caused by the bacteria, Mycobacterium leprae. Leprosy is transmitted via person-to-person contact. Today, leprosy can be cured, particularly if treatment is begun early, which, when you go into the scriptures, which I ain't going to pull that up, you can look it up for yourself. But you have examples of a clean leper or an unclean leper. And Esau would be considered a clean leper because they can go around and mingle amongst people without certain stuff getting people sick, even though they do bring diseases. But that's a whole other topic for another lesson. But they can go around and still dwell amongst people compared to a person that actually got unclean leprosy. That if they just touch you or rub you or something like that, certain bacteria might get on you. That's why you see certain people, they might be covered up a lot. And you wonder why it's hot as hell outside and they got on hoodies or, sweats and different stuff like that. They might have leprosy and they just covering it up. Now, and the reason for this, now let me go back to it. Go to verse 7. Now, verse 7, it says, and the reason why I'm bringing this out, just to give you a description of how Judas and Maccabees look. Because of all the Levites, in order for you to be a Levite and be a priest, you had to come from that lineage. You couldn't just be like, you couldn't be no Issacharite and be like, oh, I want to go be a priest. And you couldn't be you couldn't be an Asherite and be like, well, I'm finna go be a priest. It ain't work like that. You had to come from the lineage of Levi. But it says, in verse 7, it says, and he said, put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again and drew it out of his bosom, and behold, it was restored like his other flesh. So let me pull up some images real quick. So when he put his hand in his bosom, I'm just using this for example. They say it was white like snow. When he put it back in. Well, let me rephrase that the correct way. When he put his hand in his bosom and took it out, it was white like snow, like how you see on this picture right here. And that's how to make your skin. But when he put it back in and took it back out again, it was like his other flesh. So it's clear as day, man. But you have some people that still want to be ignorant and have saying, oh, he was pale, but he turned white like snow that fall on the ground. It ain't talking about that, man. But I'm just going into some more stuff real quick. Now, in this video, it say the Maccabees double-crossed the sons of Zadok after the Maccabean revolt into the high priesthood for themselves, which was false. Because I'm going to read why they did exactly what they did. I'm going to let this play just for a little bit. Let me go back.
That's right. So this, again, it's referring to the service in the temple is for the sons of Zadok, not for any other priest. No other priests are mentioned. Sons of Zadok. So, the legacy, if you will, of Zadok. During the days of King David, there were two priests, Zadok and Abiathar. Solomon removed Abiathar and kept Zadok and his sons. The Zadokite high priest remained in authority until about 175 BC, when Antiochus IV removed Onias III, the high priest at the time. The Maccabees double-crossed the sons of Zadok after the Maccabean revolt and took the high priesthood for themselves. So, basically, the Zadokite priest actually fought with the Maccabees. The sons of Zadok then after...
And see, this is another reason why it's good to know our history and look stuff up. Like the scriptures say, in the book of Revelation, blessed is he that readeth. And there's another scripture I want to say in the book of Peter that said, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. Because you gotta know this stuff, man. This our stuff. With these Edomites, what they do? They go send out they archaeologists, they have the historians, all this different stuff. They go dig up everything, and then the stuff they find, they hide some of the stuff, and then they put out misinformation. Because in order to put out a lie, you gotta know the truth.
After the Maccabees came to power, the sons of Zadok, many of them were killed, but they were all double crossed, because instead of giving the priesthood back to the legitimate priests, the priests that were authorized by Yahuwah, the Hashmonean.
And his name is not Yahuwah, it's Yahweh. When people say hallelujah, he's basically saying his name. He's just saying a part of his name. A lot of people don't even realize that either. His name is right there in it, if you're paying attention. Which just means he is to be praised. And the word Yahweh just means he exists. He is. That's why when he spoke to Moses, he said, I am that I am. You ain't going to call him I am. You're going to say he is, because you're speaking from your perspective. So that's basically what his name is. And the scriptures also say that the elect are going to call him his name. So people that don't really know the name, it's plain to see why they don't really know.
The kings, the Maccabees, they claimed that position for themselves. And so they put themselves in the place of king and high priest. Now this was in a direct violation of the word of Yahuwah in the book of Ezekiel. The sons of Zadok are the only priests approved to minister before Yahuwah. Keep that in mind. We're going to be referring to this quite a bit throughout this entire presentation. Ezekiel 43:18.
Now, if you're going to read the book of Ezekiel all the way through, you got to read the book of Maccabees. That'll help you understand this. And I ain't going to play this whole video because it's almost like an hour long. And it just goes into, a bunch of other stuff. But you can check this out if you want to, compare and contrast it to some scriptures. And he got his comments turned off because he know somebody will come on here and be like, hey, you're going off. This ain't what this means. This is what it really means. The only person that turn their comments off because they don't want to get rebuked and corrected. Because just say if I put out something or whatever, if I ain't know the full details and somebody correct me, I'm going to take it down and I'm going to put it up in the correct manner. But everybody, they want to be right all the damn time. They can't take rebuke, or they can't be like, oh damn, I messed up. They can't own up to their shit and be like, well, I messed up. I ain't looked that up. Let me look further into it and correct it. But anyway, I'm reading the book of Maccabees. I'm going to it. Hold on 1 minute, let me get it real quick. Alright, that's in the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1. I'm going to start it. Let me just get to the main point, so I'm going to jump around a little bit. But you can read through this if you ain't read through it yet. I'm going to start at verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yet many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. It says for the king. So this is the main reason why this revolt took place. Because not only did you have the heathens ruling over us, you had our people that was conforming to that shit. So it says, verse 44 says, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. It says, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, which you see today, like when you go to these churches and stuff like that. They have these baby angels floating around. Where that's at in the scriptures where it say an angel came and he was a baby with a diaper on. That ain't in no scriptures, man. But that stuff still going still to this day. It says, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. So even now, like when people go to these churches and stuff, and they be like, "Oh, we had a good big breakfast." What be the main thing on that breakfast? Some damn ham. But if you don't read the scriptures, like the scriptures say, you do err, not knowing the scriptures, know the power of Yahweh. And a lot of people, they don't be reading, researching, none of that stuff. They just listen without looking up the history or going into the books themselves. Reading on that verse 48. So they was just wilding out, just doing all type of stuff. Now verse 48, it says that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, which is unclean. That's part of the reason why the Most High put it in the law for us to get like that anyway. And I was just talking to one of my sisters about that because she didn't even know that. But that's our customs. And it says, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. And it says, in verse 49, it says, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. That's what you got now. You got people celebrating Christmas, this New Year's shit. Because really the New Year really start after the snow leave and spring come in. That's really when the New Year is. Then after that, Easter. What else people like to celebrate? Valentine's Day and shit like that. And Easter, that ain't got shit to do with the scriptures. That just go back to the worship of Ishtar, El Nana, and what else? It's another deity that they go back to. Ishtar, Ashereth. So all that stuff, man. This ain't nothing new. It's just the names just been changed up a little bit. When I said in verse 50, it says, whosoever will not do according to the commandment of the king, said he should die. So people were shook, just like now. When they push this chip out, this RFID chip, and make it mandatory, they're gonna come with it like, oh, it's just for your job, you can get paid, it's more secure. You ain't gotta worry about nobody stealing your credit card. You ain't gotta worry about nobody stealing your money or hacking your account. It's just, the list goes on. They're gonna make it seem sweet. And once they realize, because a lot of people ain't gonna take it right away, it's gonna be something that happen. And have people be like, oh damn, I gotta go get this chip. So they're gonna be lining up. And they're gonna push it out to the point of where the so-called king of this Babylonian captivity that we in, they're gonna be like, look, if you don't get this chip, this gonna happen. You're gonna get locked up in this FEMA camp, or you're gonna get beheaded, or whatever they may come up with. They gonna come with all type of shit. So if you don't get this chip, you don't get to eat no more. You can't go grocery shopping because all the stores done away with cash and credit cards. So, hey man, and I want to make another lesson on that too. Cause I just seen something else in the news. It was talking about these other countries going into the gold instead of using the U.S. dollar. But that's gonna be on that topic. But mainly, what I want to get to is the reason why people did this revolt. Because Antiochus was getting our people to do stuff, and they was with it, man. But you had certain men that was of the elect, because those was the elect back then. They weren't with none of that shit. They're like, look, this is what we really gonna do after a certain time. So in verse 51 it says, in the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers of all the people, commanded the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto him, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites in secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now it says, now the 5th day of the month of Caslu, in the 140 and 50th year, I should say, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and built an altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. So they was wilding, man. So what happened since they was wilding? It says, and whosoever was found within the book of the testament, or of any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. So just like now, man, you go into these scriptures, man. If people could right now, you bring us stuff out this Bible, and you go into it, and you're like, oh, this what you're really supposed to do, or this how you really supposed to eat, this how you really keep the Sabbath or the Shabbat, this how you really supposed to raise your kids. This what marriage really is, so on and so on. Hey, people, they'll want to kill your ass. Like I've seen it firsthand. I go into certain stuff. It's just because I might know something that somebody else don't know. They had this evil, wicked ass look on their face. Like they want to put me to death. And I know other Akim, they don't told me these same type of stories. You might try to share some stuff with your family, with your woman, or their family, or whoever, so-called friends, which you find out that they ain't your fucking friends, and they want to put you to death, man. Just like back then, they ain't want the scriptures around. Just like they trying to ban it now, and call us what a hate group, and terrorists, and all this other little bullshit. Hey, the scriptures clearly speak on what's what. And the ones that don't accept it, they end up wishing they accept it. And it ain't no coincidence that this is the #1 book in the world. Everybody don't understand it. They wish to understand it. But the elect have obtained it, like the scripture says. No, but anyway, reading on some more, it says, and whosoever was found, I already read that part. So like in verse 58 to say, thus did they, by their authority, unto the Israelites every month, to as many were found in the cities. So they was just wiping Israel out. They said, now the 5th and 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of your house. So this one stuff started getting even more heated and more serious. It says, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So just like now, I always think my mom whenever I talk to her, like, I'm glad you circumcised me when I was a baby. It's like, yeah, I know, hey, we get that from our family. It's because down through the lineage, a lot of our people knew and spoke Hebrew, especially in my family. I don't know about everybody else, family members like that, but a lot of my family members, they was into the Hebrew. A lot of them have biblical names, maybe like John or Esther, Adam, James, Peter, just different little names like that. So our people was familiar back then more so than now, but now you have people waking up and coming to remembrance. Like the book of Peter also say, should call you to remembrance, because you once knew these things. So this stuff I know now. I knew this before. It just got wiped away for a little bit, but now it's back now. But it says, in verse 6, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. So this how sick they was getting, because for them to know they had got circumcised, that mean they had to go strip the babies and all that. So they was being sick, man. It says, howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing, wherefore thee rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. So that's how hardcore our people was going for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. Like now you got somebody ask you, do you eat pork? And you be like, nah. They be like, what you is, a Muslim? They don't even realize Ishmael, they get that shit from us. Them not eating no pork. They just adopted some of the customs, like having multiple wives and wearing certain garments and eating a certain diet. That's because they adopted our customs and just converted it over a little bit and mixed it with the Arabic and all that different stuff like that, bro. Now, in 1 Maccabees chapter 2, in verse 1, it says, in those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jored from Jerusalem and dwelt in Molden. And he had 5 sons: Jonan, called Cadus, Simon, called Thesai, and Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphus. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me, wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers. Her temple has become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Which right now, these elites, they still got them vessels stored up in them vaults and all that shit. In the little museums they like to go to and drink wine or drink blood. 'Cause they don't be drinking wine, they ass drink blood. They ass drinking blood and eating organs and shit. That's what they be doing, showing off our vessels from ancient times. And it says, her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. And that still go on to this day. Got babies dying, young kids dying, young men dying, mainly. Women be dying too. But on a high level, it be the man. The reason why, because they know the man carried the seed. Now it says in verse 10, what nation have not had a part of her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? And I ain't gonna read all the way through this. I'm gonna just skip down and get to the main part in this. In verse 19, it says, still in the book of Maccabees, in chapter 2, it says, Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away, every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. And I will forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. So the guy in this video, he definitely don't know what he's talking about, because the Most High was with them doing what they did. If it wasn't so, he wouldn't have let them do it. Now it says, we will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came out of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Molden, according to the king's commandment. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So the Levites, they was getting busy, man. I'm gonna read on some more. When playing that shit, you got people want to be like Esau and be like Elam and Ishmael and these Moabites and all that, man. Well, really, we the royal people. We the Lord's chosen people. And some of our people, man, they have an issue with being royal, man. They want to include every fucking body. That ain't how stuff's set up, man. That don't even make no sense. But you have, we gotta love everybody. Everybody gotta get love. So if a motherfucker come kill your whole family and leave you alive, you still gonna love them? But people don't think, man. They don't think that deep. They just think shallow. They don't think in detail and in depth. I'm gonna read on some more. It's in the book of Maccabees, in chapter 2, verse 51. It says, Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandments and was made Lord of Egypt. And I could give a testimony, man. When you apply this stuff to your life, people come around you and they want you to run stuff, man. They want you to be in charge, because they know your judgment ain't like everybody else's judgment. They know you're going to do stuff in balance. You're going to make a wise decision, and you honorable. You keep your word. Ultimately, you basically do what the scriptures say. You live out what the book of Proverbs say. Ecclesiasticus and Ecclesiastes say, and so on and so on. So when people see that, they're like, man, there's something different about you. You have this glow about you. People can see that. They're like, why your face shining? How you know so much? or whatever the scenario may be. The next thing you know, they put you in position, man, just like all these other ancient forefathers back then. But verse 54 says, "From these our father, and being zealous and fervent, obtained a covenant of an everlasting priesthood." They say Yahweh Shah, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Because at the time when you read about Yahweh Shah, when he was on the scene, and when Peter was with him and he smote off that guy, hey, they could have wiped all them centurions out, but it wasn't meant for that. That's why Yahweh Shah told Peter, basically put up your sword. Those who live by the sword should die by the sword. And if this is my kingdom, then my saints will fight, because it wasn't that time. He had to fulfill the word. But he could have went off and did some other junk. Where it says, Caleb for bearing witness before the congregation received the heritage of the land. David for being merciful possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. And that's another thing too, because society got people so cutthroat, man, and want to finesse everybody and shit like that. Hey man, when it's time to get some mercy, you think the Most High gonna have mercy on you if you ain't been merciful? You ain't show no mercy. You see somebody, they might be going through something, they might be hungry, they might need some food or something or whatever, and you talking shit like, oh, look at this motherfucker, this broke motherfucker, ain't got nothing or whatever. What you gonna do when your ass hungry or something, and you call God, why I'm going through this? You think he gonna show some mercy? It don't work like that. Let me read on some more. Let me find this other verse. Now, I could have pulled a book up online too, but I just felt like grabbing my book and reading. So if you got your apocrypha or whatever, that's what I'm in. Or if you got the old King James version, 1611 edition, it's in there. It says in the book of Maccabees, chapter 4. See, I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna start at verse 37. Just read down. It says, "Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and the shrubs growing, in the courts as in the forest, on one of the mountains here, and the priest chambers pulled down." So they was pissed, man. You gotta think, the Levites was like real clean, man. They went with all that dirty ass shit being out of order. They did stuff in the holy manner, which just means separate. So you'll see them and tell like, what's something different about these people? Well, they what they do. That's why you see like you have these Roman Catholic priests and stuff like that. They try to mimic that with the gold and the temples and the silk robes and all that different stuff like that. Whole time they fucking little boys up and doing all type of other weird ass shit in them catacombs. But anyway, it says, in 39, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried toward heaven. So, if they did something that the Most High wasn't cool with, like in this video that I was just playing on here, then the Most High wouldn't have let them win. He wouldn't have let them do what they did. He would have rolled somebody up and made sure ain't none of this happen. Now, verse 41, it says, "Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, and they was Levites. It says, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when they had consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down and laid up the stones in the mountain of a temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to shew what should be done with them. So they did all this stuff basically because you had the people that was ruling over us, making us conform to certain ways, or trying to make everybody conform to certain ways. Then you had our people that was with those ways. So reading on some more, it says, I'm gonna jump down to. Okay, I'm gonna keep it going at 48. It says in verse 48, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple, and hollowed the courts. Verse 49, they made also new holy vessels into the temple. He brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burn incense. That's why a lot of people know. Some of them don't know why they do it. But that just come back from ancient times too, burning them incense a lot. It says, in the lamps that were upon the candlestick, they lighted. A lot of people love them candles. And it's just, and when you read the scriptures, man, if you really pay attention to what certain people was doing back then and what people do now, you can clearly see who was who. Like with the Jacob and Esau thing. Esau being a cunning hunter of the field. Hey, when you watch the Bass shows and the Bass Pro and the Hunting Network, who you see on there, man? When you look at people chilling in the tents, who you see doing that, man? It's obvious, man. People having cookouts, setting up tents, college campuses and stuff. Like you go to HBCU and all them different places down south and all that. Miami University, Florida State University and all that. Hey, our people be under them tents, man. Homecoming events. But the cunning hunter, yeah, you know who the cunning hunter is. But it says, in verse 51, it says, furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now in the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called a month of Caslu, it says, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon a new altar and burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. It says, then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. So right there, clearly, let me go back in this video real quick. What this guy said.
Within. So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does the serpent talk?
Let me pause that because you got this so-called scholar and he talking some crazy junk on it. Even though he making a good point, saying that you gotta know about poetry or whatever to know about the scriptures, because parables and stuff basically that's all it really is. That's what they're going to. When they asked the Lord, why you speak to us in parables, he was speaking in parables because it wasn't meant for everybody to get it.
Contribution for you. So, if, for instance, if you were going to offer incense on the incense altar,
So
it
we're
is
trying to step out with it.
the days of King David. There were two priests, Zadok and Abiathar. Solomon removed Abiathar and kept Zadok and his sons. The Zadokite high priest remained in authority until about 175 BC, but Antiochus IV removed Onias III, the high priest at the time. The Maccabees double-crossed the sons of Zadok after the Maccabean revolt and took the high priesthood to themselves. So, basically, the Zadokite priests actually fought with the Maccabees. The sons of Zadok, then, after the Maccabees came to power, the sons of Zadok, many of them were killed, but they were all double-crossed, because instead of giving the priesthood back to the legitimate priests, the priests that were authorized by Yahuwah, the Hashmonean kings, the Maccabees, they claimed that position for themselves.
But what this guy saying there, he's saying the Maccabees, like they weren't priests. They was from the tribe of Levi. When you go back into the lineage, that's what it was talking about. That's why I read and skipped around. So whoever hear this, they can piece that together and understand that. Now you read on some more. It says, I'm gonna read back up to verse 55 one more time. It says, then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. So, if this is a direct violation, why did he give them success? Now it says in verse 56, and so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness, and the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront. Here go more description of what our people still do to this day. They say they decked. And what our people like to say, oh, you decked out, man. You got all that nice stuff on. They say they decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold. Hey, you see a lot of people wearing gold, especially now. People was wearing it back then, but now it's even more popular because more people want to shine more. They said with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanging doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. And like the scriptures say, when the wicked rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So people was happy. It's like, okay, we got the priest back up in here. We gonna go back to keeping the commandments. And most likely he's gonna be dealing with us even more. Now I'm gonna end this off on this. And it says in verse 59, it says, and moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel. Because in this video, the guy was reading the Maccabees like they wasn't a part of this, but they was all related. You just had certain, it may have been like cousins or brothers a little bit further down the lineage, but it was all related. Now it says, and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in the season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month of Caslu, with mirth and gladness. And it says, at that time they also built up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. And the Idumeans, which is the Edomites, they want to go over there and build a third temple right now, but they don't realize the third temple is going to be the men. It ain't going to be no actual building or nothing like that. Because the scripture said that the Lord dwelleth not in temples made with hands. And that the Spirit dwelleth within you. So, and also in the book of Revelation, it says, I saw New Jerusalem descending down from heaven. Yeah, let me get that real quick. Then I end this off. So that's what's going to happen, man. It's in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 2. It says, and now John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And what that's talking about is when the elect come down from them ships. When you hear about the sons, or when the saints go marching in and highlight to be of that number, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the elect and what they're gonna be coming down to do. To take the kingdom. Let me go into this. I was going to end this off, but I want to go into this verse real quick. the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 18, they say, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, possess the kingdom forever, even forever and never. And that's what these elites fear, man, because they know once we get in power, hey, ain't no more revolts of them rising back up. Ain't no more Edomites sneaking out and we finna go back into Israel and pull them out of there and put them back in slavery. Ain't no more Moabites and no Ammonites, none of that going in there. Ain't no more of that stuff, man. This the last go round for that. That's why you see men waking up, going so hard and being so educated on these topics, because man, it's exciting, man, to know this. When people go to work and they think like, damn, it's gonna be like this forever. No, it ain't gonna be like this forever, man. Heathens ain't gonna be in position. You see these damn Arabs or whoever else, whatever, these Chinese, these Japanese, Koreans, they all come over here in the land that we was brought on slave ships and built up, and these fucking heathens come over here and they running all these businesses and doing all this different stuff and then looking down on us. That stuff gonna get reversed, man. So I ain't gonna go on too much more longer. Lord's willing, this is edifying. Call all y'all by Shin Yahusha. Shalom to the elect. And happy Hanukkah and Lahan.